Hey everyone, Dan here. We are just after close on Friday, April 16th, and this is the 101st stock analysis video that I'll be doing on this channel. Thank you all for joining me for this one, and if you have joined for any of the others, I really appreciate it. If you have liked any videos or have subscribed, that means a lot. If you haven't, but you would enjoy doing that sort of thing, please do so. It's still a very young channel and it helps out a ton. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a big announcement to make, and if you stick around and watch all the way through, I will share it with you at the end, but it's very exciting, and we'll see how it goes. So it's like tepid excitement. But what I thought that I would do is talk about AMC, because AMC is the video that started off this entire stock focus. For those of you that don't know, my channel was not meant to be a stock analysis video or channel. I was focused on stock analysis being a part of it, but I was doing things, if you watch like my very early videos, I was doing things like solving Rubik's Cubes. I was talking about Eastern philosophy. I was taking walks through the woods, and and so stock analysis was meant to be a piece of that puzzle. But what happened was I put this AMC video out as my first stock analysis, and it had something like 1,000 views. I put it out on a Friday night, so just like we are tonight, and by like the end of the weekend it had like 1,000 views or something, which at that point I had, I think, probably 5 subscribers. And so I thought, well, maybe I should focus on the stock analysis a little bit longer and see if there's actually some interest here. And obviously, we are over 100 stock videos later, and I'm excited that this is what the channel's focus has become. And you know, there's actually well over 100, because I'm not including the 10 or so like tutorial videos that I've done, which you can find my like mini lessons playlist on my channel. Talks about charting and indicators and moving averages, and there's little mini lessons on all of those things. What I thought we'd do, since AMC got the ball rolling, is kick things off with AMC again. Start this next 100 with AMC again, see if we can rekindle any magic or not. But we're on the 1 hour chart here. AMC has gone through quite a few months. Let's zoom out to the 3 month just to sort of recollect this like big run up to 25, and then this like big retracement, and then this next push that came in, and now we are kind of feeling the hangover effects of that most recent push that topped out, you know, we'll say it was topping out around March 18th, and so we're about a month later now, and so let's hone in on the month and take it from there. So I mean, the things that stand out to me at first, and just to be clear, I'm going to start this chart from scratch, both to kind of show you how I draw these charts in case you haven't caught that yet, but you would like to. And so we're going to go through the drawing and that type of analysis, the channels and the buy and sell areas, and then we'll go and take a look at the indicators. So starting off with the charting, you know, the first thing I see is this sort of like relatively subtle but existent down channel that AMC is currently in. You know, it's toward the upper half of the channel right now. It made a run up overnight and during the pre-market, but it had a pretty rough beat down today. So what I would be looking for in the context of just sort of like buy and sell signals is I would look for some supply and demand zones that fit within this channel, and that might give you some idea of when it might start heading itself out of the channel, be it out the top or down through the bottom, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you're bullish on AMC and you're looking for signs of life. This 918 would be my most immediate support, and this is because of this support here and previous support here, previous support here. If we draw it back, it built this support here and then had this big push off. So it was previous resistance. That's the most important thing, that current support was previous resistance or vice versa. That lets you know that it's a more robust price zone and that you should expect something from it. So in this case, we're going to expect immediate support in that range. If we track back again a little bit more, this range is going to be important. If you see all of this previous support, and then all of the support here, yep, okay, and then that's where it bounced its head off of today, so that makes sense that it's turned into resistance at this point. So that's a good sign. It's its first test of this, in recent days since bouncing off the bottom of the channel here. So I would look for it to retest that again, and that would test it getting out of the channel. So that could be a good sign. And then as we start to move up, taking a look at like this topping out, all of this topping out, and then how it lines up with all of this topping out here, which was bottoming out here. So I would put a zone, about in this range. So it's pretty tight to the other one, but 40 cents for a stock that's under $10, is a big percentage change. So that's not nothing. But I would say look for a zone there. And these zones, you can look at them as areas for the stock to hit as resistance. So maybe you'd want to trim your position, take some profit off the table at that point, or you can look for it to flip that from resistance to support. So in other words, it's resistance here right now. As it makes its way back up, if it can build support on that 10-11 zone, then you could feel pretty confident that it's going to start to attack the next zones, which the next one is pretty tight at this 1053, but then there's a lot of run room actually into the mid-11s. So that could give you, a good 10% push there to kind of play off of. But, again, this is if you're looking to dip buy, look for it to bounce on any of these support zones. If you're looking to trim or take profit, look for it to approach any of the price targets above, and assume that it's going to hit some resistance there. So you might want to take some profit off the table and then re-enter if the chart is looking good for a re-entry. The next one that I'd look at is 1247. The really nice thing is the spread on these. Those are big percentage changes, so it gives you a lot of room to run with, a lot of area to take profit in as it starts to go. So these are the ones that I would look at if you're looking for upper price targets to trim or sell your whole position and look for re-entry. It's going to get pretty sticky in this zone, so that's as far as I'm going to chart on the upside as far as that goes. But if it reaches above that, then we can do a follow-up analysis video. So that's where we are in the down channel with these. If you want to look, I'm a little reluctant to set like a cut loss zone on the downside, something like this 855. We could, but what I would say is more important is just, if it falls out the bottom of this channel, then you may want to consider that a cut loss or stop loss area. And so I think that's basically all of our supply and demand zones. That's our channel. That's a cut loss area if you want that instead of the channel. Now let's take a look at our MAs. I think we know what it's going to look like. Yeah, the 50 is coming up for support. The 50 is potentially coming up to cross over the 180. That would be the first good sign from the MAs if it's going to start to turn bullish. So that could be a good sign. So look for that yellow to cross over the red and be then on top of the red. That would then flip the orange and the purple as well, and they would start moving up. So that's what I look at from the moving averages. If we take a look at the MACD here, so obviously a lot of bearish momentum in this area. Well, let me just make sure that there's no divergence here. Okay, nope, you're clean there. So, what you're really going to want is this MACD to close space with this signal line and then cross over. And that could be a good buy signal if you're looking for a dip buy or for an entry point for a position. I would have said, it was good that the bearish momentum was kind of waning, but it's picked up recently. And the bullish sentiment has been waning. But I think that that's going to be your first best bet to look at for the bulls is the MACD to cross over the signal. And until you get that, you might get some more testing of this 918 level or more testing toward the bottom of the channel itself. The most important thing to me in this sort of setup is the channel itself. Breaking that channel and getting on top of it is the most important thing. RSI, as you would imagine, is pretty low. 42, 30 is considered oversold. You will see every time that it got below 30 here, it did have a good push up. So it was under 30 in this area, and it got its support and it pushed up a good percentage gain. And then it was under 30 in this area, and it got a good push up to the top of the channel. So both times that it got to 30, it was basically toward the bottom of the channel, and then push itself toward the top. The semi-decent thing right now is it's not anywhere near the bottom of the channel, but the RSI is just 42. So previously, when it was like around this mid-range of the channel, the RSI was like above 50. So that's a good sign that the RSI is low, even though it's relatively high in the channel. That could give us some indication that it's going to push up and out of the channel. So, good luck if you're in AMC. I wish you the best. Drop me a comment or a tweet if you have any questions about this, but this is what I'm seeing. And thanks for being here for my 101st. Oh, I almost forgot about my announcement. Let me take a sip of water first. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to make these videos the way that I have been, but I'm also going to try to sort of communicate the audio-only version of these in a way that can be repurposed as a podcast. So starting, I would say sometime within the next 2 weeks, I plan to launch the podcast by, I think, the same name, but I'm still doing some research on that to figure out if I should put something about stocks in the name. And so you won't see anything really change from the YouTube videos. They'll still be here. They'll still look and sound the same, but I will do my best to make them audio only friendly in case folks are just listening to them on the podcast. They will understand what I'm saying. So that might just mean that I call out areas more consistently. So I might say okay, so there's a channel forming. The top of the channel started way back on March 23rd at about $12, and the bottom of the channel, is holding as of April 5th at about $9, and that represents the down channel. So, I might just sort of call out things more like that. Or when I plot these price targets up or cut losses down, I will be consistent with calling out the actual price that is signifying. So, podcast coming, and my plan would be to have those, again, the videos would come out at night. The podcast version would come out very early in the morning, something like 5 or 6 a.m. Eastern time, so that folks, if they wanted to listen to it prior to the trading day starting while they're doing something else, that gives them an opportunity to, and maybe gives them some ideas or things to look for as the trading day unfolds. All right, well, in any case, I really appreciate you all being here with me. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had an enjoyable trading week, and I will see you in the next video.